You are listening to the B.I.G. Show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G. Show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
B.I.G. and we are back. It's the B.I.G. Show. I'm Calvin. Sound effects over there is not Dougie Fresh, but it is my guy Garland. What's going on, Garland? How you doing?
Here's a little thing about violence. I'm sorry. Ooh, I almost choked. I'm good, bro. Dougie, yo, you gotta hit the Dougie. Everybody, if you're not watching, I'm hitting the Dougie Fresh.
That ain't even. Yo. That's the old Dougie.
Yeah,
I hit the new Dougie. That's the old.
Dougie didn't come up with that.
The
Dougie.
new
This
Dougie
dance.
You know how they do the new Dougie.
No, not that. That ain't got nothing to do with Dougie Fresh.
Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to Dougie.
He was doing that up in Harlem World when Dougie was beatboxing back in the day.
I was at a concert that he was at because he now performs like when they do old school shows and stuff and cruises. And I was at a concert he was performing at, and they played Teach Me How to Dougie, and my kids just happened to be there. And my kids were like, is that where that song came from? And I was like, so no, the name is correct, but the dance and the song, it's not a remix song. That is an original song. Teach Me How to Dougie. The dance is actually an original dance. I don't know how they got that dance out of him going over his head and everything.
Yeah, that was his dance. Remember?
But no, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how they got the new dance. How the new dance turned into what it is, and they never go over their head. Well, they go over their head every now and then, but they be doing all this with it. I'll be like, Dougie Fresh ain't never do that shit.
Right.
But my kids were like, oh man, I didn't. I was like, no, the name is right, but the song is an original and the dance is actually an original because that's not the Dougie. What he doing down there now, that's the Dougie. So my kids were shocked.
The original Dougie Fresh, one of hip hop's finest. Definitely. That one Dougie Fresh album. I'm trying to think. It had "Rising to the Top" on it.
Keep rising to the top.
Yeah, it had a couple other
On the Way to Heaven.
Fresh Crew. On the Way to Heaven with the Get Fresh Crew. Now, On the Way to Heaven, I think that was with Slick Rick. I think that might have been on their little thing, but yeah. That was some good stuff right there, Dougie.
And let Dougie tell it. Let Dougie Fresh tell it. He's the original beatbox. It's just the Fat Boys ran to the record label and got out first. So
that was all. that was a novelty. No, Dougie Fresh was really like a daggone beat machine.
I'm a fan of the human jock box with the skinny boys. You gotta be fresh. Hey, by the way, we are on all the podcast platforms. We're live on YouTube right now, and if you do have Spotify, you'll be able to see our beautiful mugs and Garland doing the Dougie Fresh, doing the real Dougie when we drop this on the podcast. And today is Saturday evening. Saturday evening.
The door. I see more. All right, let's get into it. I'm sorry. Get right. We will talk a little baseball. Of course, it's in baseball season, so we got to put it in now. We're going to talk a little football as well. Also, let's go ahead and start off with some NBA free agency. Last weekend, after our broadcast, we did do kind of like a hell yeah, hell nah kind of preview of the NBA free agency, and so it kicked off last weekend. And so Paul George, he signs a 4-year, $212 million maximum contract with the 76ers that brings him back to the Eastern Conference. And it pairs him with rising guard Tyrese Maxey and 2023 MVP Joel Embiid. And so does this make the Sixers the second best team in the East over the Knicks and the Bucks?
Yeah, well, first of all, by the way, Garland and I were 100 for 100 with the hell yeah, hell no, yeah, we were 100. It actually does. So and to be very honest, they really would probably the second best team if Embiid stayed healthy. So Embiid he has a problem staying healthy.
Missed a good part of the second part of the season.
He's really that dominant. Like, I don't think if you're outside of Philly or outside the Eastern Conference, I don't think people realize how dominant Joel Embiid is. I mean, the boy is a monster. So as long as he stays healthy, I not only are they the second best, I really got them maybe making the finals next season, maybe making the finals.
Yeah, I think it's really going to depend on Embiid. We can't forget it's been his health that's really been the determining factor in terms of the progress of that team. Maxey stepped up very big in the playoffs. Although Embiid did play, he was injured, and it really impacted his play. Maxey stepped up and played very well. He just signed an extension as well. Paul George, he's been great during the regular season, but he tends to disappear in the playoffs a lot. With the Clippers, when he was with the Pacers as well, when he was with OKC. And so we'll see what happens with that. But I agree with you. I think if Embiid plays probably more games this past season, they're up there at fighting for the number one seed, and maybe they go a little bit deeper if he's healthier. I got a chance to see him play in person last year, and they were playing the Wizards. The Wizards are terrible, but he had 50 in the third quarter, and they took him out. He didn't play the fourth quarter. If he probably played the fourth quarter, he probably would have had 70. He was just doing whatever he wanted to do, and he does that against every team when he's healthy. And so it's really going to be dependent on the health of Embiid, I think, more than George. George is just, to me, I don't think when I look at George's career, has he been a dominant player? Like, is he the player that carries a team? And yeah, he's had some, big games, but for the most part, he's always been paired with someone else, and that someone else has been the main person. When he was on the Clippers, he was paired with Kawhi. Kawhi is the main person. When he was with OKC, it was Westbrook. Westbrook really was the main person there. And so he's always kind of been like the side, the Robin to the Batman on the team. And so we'll see what happens with that. The Splash Brothers are officially done, Calvin. Klay Thompson joins the Dallas Mavericks on a 3-year, $50 million contract as part of a multi-team sign and trade deal that will also send Josh Green to the Charlotte Hornets. With the Warriors losing Klay, declining to guarantee Chris Paul's final year of his contract, which was going to be $30 million. Instead, they decline that. He goes and signs with the Spurs, which I think is a great move for Wembanyama. And the Warriors were supposed to be in the Paul George sweepstakes. They were trying to see if they could swing to get him on the team. Looking at this team now, man, will they even make the play-in next year?
So I was about to say, of course, because they're the Warriors, but I forgot how deep the West is. You still got you got Memphis out there. You got New Orleans out there.
Yeah, Memphis didn't have their main player this year, and so he's coming back. Yeah, fully healthy.
It's really difficult to bet against Steph, and really over the past 2 years, Steph has basically done it without much contribution from Klay. So it's going to be difficult to say. I mean, we're a year older, but you also got these teams that are a little more mature. That Houston, the Rockets are going to be a contender this season. It's going to be tough. I'm looking at teams like my Lakers, like the Warriors. I see these windows have. Well, no, I see these windows having either about to close or already closed. Like I just, so
no disrespect to the Lakers.
Yeah, no disrespect to either one of them. I mean, you're talking about Hall of Fame players on the teams, but they're older. They don't have strong supporting cast, and I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the rebuild year for the Warriors, and that they will not make the play-in. Now, of course, we still got free agency going on out there, and you never know what any of these rookies are going to do. Who's going to develop who. But right now, I don't have them making the play-in.
Yeah, they're supposed to be making a play for Larry Marketing, who's on the Utah Jazz. I don't know how much more of an impact he's going to give them being on that team. Like we said, the West is very thick. It's young. It's deep, and those young teams are rising to the top. John Morant didn't play last year. I think he might have played 4 or 5 games before he went out with injury. So you got to account for them. They were the number 2 seed last year. Denver's still there. OKC,
You
Houston
gotta
should be coming up.
you got a rejuvenated Zion Williamson. You
Yeah,
saw that
you got Pelicans. Yeah,
they just
you got Sacramento, who has a young rising team. And so
mm-hmm.
there's you got Phoenix. They're still out there. You got Durant. So there's still very, very, very good teams out there that it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be tough for them, especially with just Steph being the main scorer. I'm sorry, Draymond. He's a great defensive presence, and he can get the rebounds and get the offense started, but he doesn't give you any points. They did bring in Buddy Hield. He signed as a free agent there. But
that's who I was trying to think of a few weeks
yeah.
ago when I said the Lakers had somebody they could have gotten from Sacramento and they didn't. It was Buddy Hield.
Well, they traded him to the Sixers last year. He was on the Sixers during the playoff run.
He was rumored to be a Laker, but they for whatever reason.
Well, I was reading something that they offered him more years, but he said he felt like he had a better chance of winning a championship with the Warriors than with the Lakers.
No, I mean year before.
Oh, the year before. I'm just talking about this year too. They offered Hield more years and money this year. The Lakers did as well, and he declined and went to the Warriors.
Everybody declined in the Lakers.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. And so, it's pretty much over. It's rebuilt. Hopefully, these last couple years of Steph's career, Steph's 36. They go out and maybe get another impact player. I know, they were up there in terms of the salary cap and having to pay a lot of tax money off of those salaries, and they try to be more cost cutting or cost conscious with the payroll, and that's why they didn't bring Clay back. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be very hard to get even into the play-in next season. Free agent center Isaiah Hartenstein. He agreed to sign a 3-year, $87 million deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Excuse me, can't read today. Hartenstein averaged 8 points, 8 rebounds in 25 minutes per game last season with the Knicks. Now, they also traded right before the start of free agency for Alex Caruso from the Bulls. They traded Gedney to them. And so does this help OKC stay on top of the Western Conference?
Yeah, so Alex Caruso doesn't get enough credit for his tenacity, his ball handling, his defense. When he was with the Lakers, he was actually very good. It was one of those when they let him roll to Chicago, we were all like, "Oh man, that's you look at him and you don't see it, but you feel it when he's not on the team." So yeah, I think I actually think it's a good trade for both teams. Giddey wasn't getting the playing time that he needed at OKC, and Giddey is actually a very, very good player. So I think that works out well for both teams, but I think it fills a void, well, not necessarily a void, but it fills an area of improvement for OKC. And OKC made it to the semifinals last season?
They were in the conference semis. So, definitely. I think it does keep them up there. I think they're very deep. They signed some of their younger players as well to extensions. They got Shea under contract. They got their core there, and so I think they're looking good. This helps Holmgren out in terms of playing down low. Chet Holmgren. Now you're going to have someone that can bang the boards, really play some interior defense, and you can free up Holmgren from having to do a lot of that, although he played effective defense last year. And so, I think this just makes a team that was already very good way, way, way better. And so good signing for OKC. The largest contract in NBA history now belongs to the Celtics star Jason Tatum, who agreed to a 5-year, $314 million contract extension. The Celtics also agreed to an extension with guard Derek White, meaning the defending champs now have every member of their starting lineup under contract through at least the 25-26 season. And so are the Celtics the odds-on favorite to repeat as NBA champions next season?
We'll say odds-on favorite to repeat as Eastern Conference champions next season.
Okay.
They definitely, they dominated the Eastern Conference during the regular season, and they clearly dominated in the playoffs. They were literally sitting, waiting for every opponent to be finished their series. So yeah, they dominated. The only reason I'm not saying the full season is because of how deep the West is. Now, with that being said, the West could beat themselves up. and could be all tied and tatted up by the time they get to the Celtics. But you still can't take a team like the Denver Nuggets out of it. I mean, it's just. Yeah, because I thought the Denver Nuggets could have beat the Celtics this year in the finals. They clearly didn't get past Dallas. So, Eastern Conference champions, yes. I don't know about finals champions.
Okay. I get. I think it was. I would say this. I thought that the West is deep, but let's look at it. The fourth seeded team came out the West. Not even the best team came out the West this year, and so because they're so deep, you don't always get the guarantee of the best team. Like you just pretty much said, I guess I'm alluding to it too. You don't always get the best team coming out when you have a super deep conference. And I think that's the case. That's going to happen again. I mean, I think, I expect the Bucks to bounce back. They're going to have a full year of Dame Dollar, of Giannis together. The Knicks, I think, are going to be just as good as they were last year. They also get Randall back. They made some good trades. I think there is the Sixers, of course, are going to be better. I think if they get a healthy Jimmy Butler in Miami, they're always going to be in the mix. And so, I think it's going to be very competitive in the East, but I do think the Celtics are kind of head and shoulders right now above a lot of the teams. I don't see the other teams outside of OKC adding some good role pieces. A lot of these teams have pretty much stayed pat. They made a lot of their moves last season, and it did not work for them. That Dame Dollar signing did not work for Milwaukee. Giannis got hurt towards the end. They got into the playoffs, but they got drummed out. And so we'll see what happens. But right now, I think the Celtics bringing back all of his starters under contract. You don't have to really worry about people playing for money. Is he going to get the extension? Everybody's there, and the team's up for sale. So if you got a couple $1 billion, you can go ahead and snatch it up. Now, with the Lakers striking out on 3 of the top free agents this offseason, LeBron James Sr. took the full max from the franchise and agreed to sign a 2-year, $104 million extension that includes a player option and a no-trade clause. Now, Calvin, every year we hear about how the Lakers are going to get the top free agents. We always hear that last year they were going to get Kyrie and they were going to get Dame Dollar and they were going to get this person. Year before that, they were going to get KD and they were going to get this person. But during the LeBron era, that has not happened. They have not gotten the top free agents. And so how come the top free agents don't want to play with LeBron?
I don't know.
I mean, because LeBron, that's the thing that they floated out at free agency. Oh, he called Clay and he told Clay he wants to play with him. And, he's willing to take less than the max for Clay to come there. And Clay goes to Dallas. And so then he was supposed to, if we want to add these free agents, I'll take the cut and, we can get it to DeMar DeRozan or somebody else. And these cats don't want to go to LA.
They still might get DeMar.
I saw something that DeMar is not going to be in LA. I forget where it was, but it was in LA. Let me look that up because Woj was reporting something about that. But why do you think they don't want to play with Clay?
I have no idea. I've already told you. I think LeBron James has, I don't want to say destroyed, but I think he shifted the mentality of the NBA. He's made all of them soft because they all want to play with their friends. They all want to build a dynasty. They don't want to be in the shadow of LeBron James, where back in the day, they would have jumped at an opportunity to play with Jordan, to play with Kobe. They would have jumped at those opportunities. You saw Shaq going to play with some of the top free agents so he could, further his career and win more rings. But it's just like they don't want to be in that LeBron James shadow for whatever reason. It worked in Miami, but they weren't part of his shadow. LeBron went to Dwayne Wade's team, and right. Wade took the back seat and let LeBron be the man, and rightfully should have. That's when LeBron was just utterly dominant. Like, it just wasn't even close. It took Bosh a while to come around to that, but then he went back to Cleveland, and Kyrie, Kevin Love, if you think about it, and Kyrie was already there. He was drafted, and Kevin Love they traded for. So it wasn't like a lot of free agents ran to Cleveland either to get with LeBron. So it's something about that LeBron James aura that a lot of players don't like. Anthony Davis seems to really enjoy playing with him, but again, he was a trade. Yeah, he was a trade, so he didn't come there free agent. So I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think it's a heavyweight. You're in a big fishbowl when you're playing with LeBron, and if you win, it's all about LeBron. If you lose, it's all your fault. And so that's a heavy weight to carry. A lot of times, I don't think it's as glamorous as you would think it is, because I think it's so much drama and other stuff that comes with being on the team with LeBron that maybe it's just not worth the carry. As one of my old bosses used to say, the juice is not worth the squeeze. And so, yeah, you're going to be competitive, but you're going to have a lot of scrutiny on your play. Don't let LeBron throw it to you with 2 seconds left after he didn't dribble 22 seconds out the clock, and you need to hit that corner 3 and you clang it, boy.
Or you
LeBron
run the wrong,
sexuals are going to kill you.
You run the wrong way like J.R. Smith did in the finals, and you be a meme forever.
Right, LeBron be a meme forever. Be like, I thought you said you had 4 books.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah, so I think it's just a tall task to go there to play with LeBron. Now, let me ask you this, because you are the resident Laker fan. Did the Lakers improve enough this offseason to even be in the play-in themselves?
No, so just like I was saying with Golden State, it's going to be tough sledding for the Lakers to make the play-in. Now, with that being said, Anthony Davis is still not generational. Anthony Davis is still a top player in the NBA, and he does have the opportunity to carry the Lakers. Even though we've never seen him really carry the Lakers, he's always been the compliment, sometimes been the bigger compliment than anything else. But no, I don't see it. And then with LeBron, I think LeBron just threw his hands up and was like, whatever, I'm gonna go ahead and sign for all the money for these 2 years, and then I'll worry about getting another ring after that. So I think he just threw his hands up.
You think he's gonna play more than 2 years?
Yeah, absolutely. LeBron wants another ring. Like you where is he sitting at 4 right now? Yes. You can't have Kobe and Jordan in front
3,
of you,
because one of them don't count.
Don't do that. You can't have Kobe and Jordan sitting in front of you. If the debate is between you and Jordan, you got to at least tie Kobe with the number of rings. You got to at least tie Kobe.
He ain't sniffing Jordan. He ain't going to get to Kobe.
First of all, he's not even Kobe. And let me throw something else out at you. And I just thought about this, and we didn't prep for this one. Let me throw something else out at you. With the talk of Golden State and the Lakers window closing that we just discussed, who's the better player in history, LeBron or Steph?
Woo.
No one ever talks about Steph being one of the greatest in history when it comes to the Jordan, LeBron, Kobe type debate.
Yeah, because Steph is not he's an all-timer, but I don't think he's on that same level in terms of icon level as.
You sure about that?
I would say that, and the reason why I say that is because the league was really built around during the Jordan era, when the league took off after Bird and Magic. You know, it was Jordan. And then when Jordan left out, it was kind of a little stinky for a while. And then Kobe and Shaq rose up, and then it became Kobe for a minute. But then LeBron came in. And LeBron has been like that icon that's kind of carried it. Now, I think Steph is more like a underdog type of guy. He wasn't drafted high. They didn't expect that he would have a great pro career. His first couple years as a pro were okay. He was a little mid, but he was not stellar. That team got better. They built a great team around him. He became a legacy player in the terms of what he was doing in terms of shooting and 3-point. But I don't think it measures on the same level as a Kobe, LeBron, or Jordan.
Well, let me present this to you, and I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. Let me present this to you. Now, granted, with all of them, Steph came in with the least heralded into the NBA, like no question.
Right.
But since we've been in the league, if we want to talk about icons and the impact on the game, if you watch players now, college, high school, even young players, they're all stopping and popping that three.
Yeah,
it's all about that three.
That's
the
influenced
Steph.
by Steph. That's
the Steph effect. Now, if we go, one of the things that we always debate is if Jordan and LeBron go head to head, what happens? Well, Steph and LeBron went head to head. What, for four of them?
Yeah, and Steph won 3.
And Steph is a game changer. Now, what Steph is not is what LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan was, which is can drive in and break down a defense and, kick back out. Steph created his own shot. Where Jordan created shots for everybody else. And Kobe obviously was just the man. He could do anything. And LeBron is kind of that hybrid in between those two. But Steph is still a game changer. Without Steph, we're not even talking Golden State. I mean,
oh yeah, most definitely.
He's
a game changer.
I would have this debate, and I could be swayed either way between LeBron and Steph, but I would have this debate. I think it would make for an interesting debate.
I will say this though, in LeBron's case, LeBron's impact is on and off the court, because I think now what we see with players in terms of the branding and the control of player future and your contracts and your empowerment, I think that directly links to LeBron for today's player.
It does, but now
I think that directly links to LeBron.
Isn't that what's hurting the Lakers right now? Because that's what I see.
I didn't say it was good. I didn't say it was good. But what I'm saying is that LeBron has players are more concerned about their brand now than they are about the court. And that's a direct descendant from LeBron. Not saying LeBron wasn't concerned about his game, but he's so much larger. He's way larger than what Jordan ever did with the Gatorade commercials and all that other stuff. I mean, this guy's producing movies and TV shows and, all of these different things. He is a conglomerate at this point in his career. I don't think there's been a player like that that's been a conglomerate. And all these players are trying to be conglomerates now.
But do you count that when we're having the debate on who's the better NBA player?
I think it's more than just the court. I mean, You got to know it's more than just the court. That's how Bronny got drafted. So it's more than just the court. It is, I think it's the whole global thing because, on the court, yes, LeBron is unstoppable force. If LeBron wanted to average 50, he could. He's not now, but I'm talking about in his prime. Because he was a player that wanted to share the ball and get others involved, and that maybe had to do with his background, being the only child, being raised in a single-parent household, 1.5 brothers. He wanted to have team. He's always been a distributor. But if no one can stop LeBron when he wants to score, even today a little bit, if LeBron wants to get to the basket, he's going to get to the basket and he's going to score. That's just not his profile as a player to be the selfish one. He always wants to bring people along. And interesting. Yeah, I just think he's a way more dominant player in terms of the game than Steph. Steph's great.
I can agree with dominant when we're talking physical play. But value to team and impact, it would be an interesting debate. I might present that out and see what people
and because it's funny. Before we recorded today, I always came across a clip from Gil's Arena, and Rashard McCants was talking about how Allen Iverson is a top 10 NBA player over Steph. He wouldn't put Steph in his top 10. He would put Allen Iverson in over Steph Curry. And I'm like, what?
What? So First of all, Rashad McCants is just some of his takes are worse than Gilbert Arenas. Used to be a time. There was a time when Steph and the Splash Brothers were on the rise, and people would compare Steph as a point guard to Allen Iverson. And of course, the nostalgia of it all was Allen Iverson.
Yeah, I know,
but we are 4 rings later, and I mean, you gotta literally say, hey, it's okay to let go and be like, Steph is a better player.
I mean, you have people saying, I mean, I think Gilbert Arenas is like, well, the teams he was playing. Okay, Steph, that first title outside of Clay, there wasn't a 20+ scorer on that team. And the last title, he basically carried that team.
He carried that team
all the way to the championship.
Carried that team
by himself. Now, one leg Clay, non-shooting Draymond, and Jordan Poole, who was horrible.
Now, what they probably hold against Clay is those 2 years that they won with KD, and should have been 3 years, but KD was hurt. Those 2 years, and KD was obviously the better player on the team and won 2 Finals MVP. So they might be holding that against Steph. But I don't know. It's Steph over Allen Iverson now.
Yes, I respect Allen Iverson, but
love AI. Love AI.
Come on. People will be on drugs. Anyway. All right, man. Good conversation about NBA free agency, man. Well, Calvin, you know how I know the NFL season is right around the corner?
How do you know?
The Lamar Jackson hate has already started. Bro, it's already started. NFL season's right around the corner, y'all. Camp start next week, and but before that, I knew it was coming because the Lamar Jackson hate has already started. Mark Schlereth, a 3-time Super Bowl winning guard and Fox Sports analyst, on a recent episode of his Stinking Truth podcast, went after Jackson and his supporters, claiming that he doesn't develop his wide receivers, talking about Jackson, and calling for him to produce in the postseason. Now, here's the quote. I do not want to hear from all of you out there that are telling me Lamar Jackson, well, they don't give him any weapons. How many first-round wide receivers do they have to draft? Well, they're not drafting the right one. Well, you're not developing them. Well, how do you develop them? Well, your quarterback has a long way to go in developing wide receivers. So I don't want to hear that bull anymore from you anymore. So before we get into me breaking it down, let me break down the Ravens draft of receivers since the Lamar era. Lamar was drafted in 2018. They drafted 3 wide receivers during that period of time since 2018 in the first round. Zay Flowers last season, Rashad Bateman 2 years before that in the first round, and 2 years prior to that, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Now, their mid-round picks, Tylan Wallace in 2021, Devin Duvernay, who's no longer on the team, in 2020, Miles Boykin, who's no longer on the team, in 2019, and Jaleel Scott, who I don't think ever touched the field, in 2018. And then their late round picks, James Prochet, who maybe caught 2 or 3 passes during his time here with the Ravens in 2020, and Jordan Lastly, who I don't think ever touched the grass either, in 2018. So those are the receivers that have been drafted during the Lamar era. And so who is responsible for developing the wide receivers, the coaching staff or the quarterback?
The coaching staff. The coaching staff is definitely responsible for developing, but it is on the quarterback to get that chemistry down, to get that chemistry together, to know where the receiver is going to be, to expect the receiver to be in this spot if you're in trouble, to know the hot routes. It's that responsibility. And if I do remember correctly, Schlereth also named the tight ends. He also talked about
Mark Andrews. Tight ends. I didn't mention them, but Mark Andrews, who was drafted, I think the same year Lamar was. You had Hayden Hurst, who was also drafted that same year, and they drafted Isaiah Likely and the other tight end last year, Cola.
And the reason I bring that up is because If you're saying that Lamar is not developing receivers, Mark Andrews is not a top receiver because Lamar didn't help develop him. He's absolutely a top receiver because, just like I said, to know where a guy's going to be when you're in trouble, him and Mark Andrews, him and Isaiah Likely are starting to get that chemistry. Him and Hayden Hurst actually sort of scratched that chemistry, but Hayden Hurst stayed injured a lot, and they, decided to move on from him. With that being said, so people like Mark Schlereth, and no shot at him because he's a Hall of Famer. But this is not the days of, and I believe, and I know that he played with John Elway. This is not the days of you draft a guy, the quarterback is a legend, and they're whispering in their ear, and they're like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's not those days. If you look at some of these teams now where you have your better quarterbacks, so let's go ahead and look at Joe Burrow. Of course, he has a number one wide receiver, but where did he get him from? They played together in college. So that chemistry was well before they got into the NFL. Let's look at Josh Allen. Who was his top receiver? They didn't draft Stephon Diggs. They didn't draft him. Let's go to Justin Herbert, who they still love so much. They didn't draft those receivers for him. They drafted one or two, and those guys didn't play well. But your Keenan Allen, they didn't draft him. Right. I'm sorry, let me back up. They didn't draft him for Justin Herbert. He was already there when Justin Herbert got there. So it's one of those things where I hear your argument, but it feels like you're talking to be talking. With that being said, I do hold our Ravens fans a little more. I do kind of say that we need to be a little more discerning in what we say about Lamar and not being able to draft, because Lamar does have his flaws. There's literally no reason for him and Rashad Bateman not to be on the same page at this point. He signed for an extension, so they're going to have to be, but they should have been a long time ago. So I blame both of them for that. I blame everybody, Bateman, Jackson, and the coaching staff for that. So I get it, but we do need to stop making the excuses for Lamar, because at this point, with 2 MVPs and an AFC championship appearance, at this point, the only thing left for Lamar is a Super Bowl ring. He has to have one to solidify his career. He has to have one.
Joe Flacco played in how many AFC championship games? 3, and only made 1 Super Bowl. So yeah,
and they drafted. Who did they draft that Joe could hang his hat on? Torrey. And Torrey was what, a second round? He was the second.
That was it. But
that was it.
Receivers were brought in: Jacoby,
Anquan Bolden, Steve Smith. I mean, yeah.
They drafted Rashard Perryman for him.
And how long he lasted that 1 year, then went somewhere else and was a bust there also. So that's scouting and coaching. The Ravens just don't draft good. They draft great tight ends. They don't draft good receivers. Zay is going to be the exception.
That's what I was going to say. They have not done well. I don't even say drafting in terms of just coaching them up. I mean, you see other teams like the Steelers. Antonio Brown was not a high draft pick. They've had some picks that were not high draft picks. Juju Schuster-Smith, he was not a high draft pick. And they developed those guys, and they became fairly decent. I don't think the Ravens have done a great job of developing mid-round wide receivers. And I think also we got to realize the system that they were running once they transitioned to Roman's system, which was very run heavy. They struggle in terms of having a serious passing attack. That's why Marquise left. That's why Hollywood left, because he wanted to be in an attack where he could use his skills in the passing attack, not going downfield, setting blocks, and so it was a very run-heavy offense, taking really incorporating Lamar's legs into it and not his arm. They didn't spend a lot of time throwing the ball and him developing that skill. I don't think the quarterback develops wide receivers, but I agree with you. They develop the chemistry and they get together, and and so hopefully we'll see more chemistry between Rashard and Lamar this year. We've already seen it with Zay and Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think to a fault, to me, sometimes Lamar gets stuck on a receiver. Like, he was very Mark Andrews heavy, and he didn't have too much more there to throw to. But, he's very Mark Andrews heavy. He's very tight end heavy. Felt more comfortable throwing to the tight ends. I think this past season, we saw him start throwing the ball more to wide receivers. Last season was the most I've ever seen him throw to wide receivers in his time since 2018 ever.
It's the most Lamar ever seen himself throw to wide receiver.
Right. That offense under Roman, he was always just throwing to Andrews. And so I think as he continues developing as a passer in this Moncton offense, we'll see, more connection with wide receivers. But, they haven't done a great job of drafting particularly, but I think that it's more of the development of the receivers that they've kind of lacked in. And so hopefully we'll see some change in that as they progress.
It also hurt us. It also hurt us because we, the Anquan Bolins, the Steve Smith, those guys we used to get. It also hurt us because a lot of the free agents, I know we had a shot at Juju Smith-Schuster to come. Right. A lot of them didn't want to come because of the reason Hollywood left. Now, what I also think the Ravens stopped doing, and I just mentioned this, but they tried. Well, I don't want to say they stopped because they did try. They did it with Marcus Robinson. They did it last year with Nelson Aguilar, and they kept him. They gave him some mid-level veterans that actually caught the ball for him. Well, Marcus Robinson had to because there was a time where everybody else was injured. Right. But they gave him some mid-level receivers that actually caught the ball. You definitely need some veterans if you're not well accustomed to hitting on your wide receiver drafts. Zay is going to be that exception because Zay and Lamar have that down. If he can get Bateman with that, the passing attack is still going to – the passing attack was decent last year, but it's going to be even better. Now, with that being said, Ravens, don't go away from what your bread and butter is. You have Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I mean,
run the
have
ball.
Balance. You gotta have balance. Yeah,
run the ball.
Have balance.
Don't be the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, don't have Derrick Henry and you come out and you only run 5 times in that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, somebody had to be fired after that. You can't do that.
Should have been fired. I wouldn't have minded if everybody, the whole coaching staff was gone.
It was coaching malpractice. It was a fireable offense. We talked about that. It was
Harbaugh, Munkin, all y'all gone. The only reason they didn't is because they lost the defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. They couldn't lose everybody.
It was a fireable offense, believe me. Hard Knocks in season, the division best known for heated rivalries and star quarterbacks, will be featured on the in-season edition of HBO's Hard Knocks TV series this season. And so the AFC North is going to be the first time that the Emmy Award-winning series has chronicled an entire division. And so it debuts on December the 3rd and will run through the rest of the regular season and the playoffs and all. And so for those that don't know, the Ravens were the first team on Hard Knocks when they started the series. And so it's still going strong. Did you get a chance to watch the new season? Now they're doing the off-season Hard Knocks with the New York Giants.
No,
watch it. It's good.
So yeah, see, it just doesn't. I'm just not a fan of other teams behind the scenes. I don't. I care about my.
We talk about football. You gotta know what everybody doing.
I keep up with it. I read. I watch the clips. But to watch a whole season of I think it was the Giants last year, or is it the Giants?
No. Last year.
Who was it last year?
I forget who was in season. It might have been the Jets in season and the Lions preseason.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of the in and outs of other teams. Now, I did watch the year they had the Dolphins. I watched when they cut Chad Ochocinco because he beat up Evelyn whatever her name is. Lozado, yeah, Real Housewives, Real Basketball Housewives girl. So I did watch that, and I think that was the last season. I was just like, I'm just not interested. It ain't about my Ravens.
You gotta watch it, bro. At least watch the first episode. It's pretty good. They're in with the GM and they in with the management team, and so they're going through making.
Who is it this year? Who is it this year?
It's the Giants.
Oh yeah, so I saw a couple clips. I saw them talking about Saquon, and that didn't age well. That didn't age. It was like, who gonna pick them up? The Eagles.
Right. And that's what and so they need a chance. So, it's given an insight of, how these teams make these decisions. I think if anything that, especially in the last couple months, if anything that sports has shown me is that you always used to hear people like, it's not always about talent. It's about politics. It's about this, that, and the other. It's like, no, this is professional sports. It has to be about talent, but it's not always about talent. It's not. Sometimes it's about money. It's about fit. It's about vision. It's about all those things. And so that's what I got out of that first episode is the GM has a vision. He wants to support this guy that he gave all this money to, Daniel Jones, at quarterback. And he feels that, we're paying too much for a running back when we need to be building up an offensive line and finding receivers or weapons for the quarterback. And, that was driving his decision making. And so, yeah, it's good to kind of see behind the veil of how these teams make the decisions.
You left out ego because that's part ego.
Yeah, ego as well. Yeah, ego as well. Ego as well. I can't be wrong, whatever. Let's tap on the Orioles real quick. They're currently in first place, although they're getting blown out today.
They're getting their asses beat.
Yeah, blown out. Their back's blown out.
And what are we at? What are we? They in the third or fourth?
They're in the fourth and in bottom of the fourth.
10-0.
13-1.
It's 13-1. Damn.
13-1. But they're currently in first place right now of the AL East with the 56-32.
3 games up.
Yeah, 3 games lead over the Yankees. It won't be 3 games after today because I believe the Yankees were winning earlier when I saw the score, and so I think they're going to win. And so they're going to be at least 2 games up on the Yankees at the end of the day. Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman were voted in by the fans as starters for the upcoming All-Star game in another week or so. Jordan Westberg and Denise Santander and Ryan O'Hearn were also in the running for reserve spots on the team. I think they finished pretty high in terms of the voting. They could possibly be picked for reserves, and that'll be revealed on Sunday. We haven't even talked about pitchers in terms of Burns or Rodriguez. And so including pitchers, how many Orioles do you think we're going to see make the final All-Star team?
So Burns is absolutely going to be on the team. I believe Santander is going to make I keep calling him Santander. Santander.
Tony Tatis.
Make the team. Jay is all about Westberg. He probably thinks
I like Westberg too.
I'm not a fan of the glove.
I know. He made a great play last night. Yeah. I think you might have been asleep. It's late games. They on the West Coast, and so you didn't comment when he made that scoop at third base in the bottom of the 8th.
We had family movie night last night.
Okay. Sell out. What you watching? Inside Out. What you doing?
Inside Out 2.
I knew it. What you?
You know who runs it. You know who runs this household.
And trust me, I'm talking stuff at movie night too for me.
So we got the 2. I do think Santander is going to make it. I definitely think Burns is going to make it. I'm giving the Orioles 4. I'm giving 4 people in the All-Star game for the Orioles.
I think Burns will make it, and I think Santander should make it as well. And so we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow when they announce the reserves and the pitchers. All right, it's time for Garland's Music Corner. And so today on Music Corner, we're going to talk about a album I think a lot of people love, Purple Rain by Prince. Now, on June 25th, we celebrated the 40th anniversary. Can you believe that? Of the release of Prince's Purple Rain, 40 years. Wow. I categorize Prince fans, Calvin, in 2 categories. There are the BPRs, which I call before Purple Rain. These are the fans that were there, at the early albums leading up to Purple Rain. So they've been fans since day one. And then you have the APRs, which are the fans that are after Purple Rain Prince fans. And so they came to the party with Purple Rain, and they've been rocking with Prince ever since. And so I'm in the BPR category. One of the first Prince albums I brought was Controversy. I was a fan of Dirty Mind, the album where he was on the Pegasus. I think that was For You. 1999, in my opinion, is Prince's best album. And that's before Purple Rain. And so that was a double album. And so I've been with Prince for a little bit, but it's this album that brought Prince to a broader audience. And so this is the 6th studio album, which also served as the soundtrack for the movie of the same name. Now, the music on Purple Rain is generally regarded as the most pop-oriented of Prince's career, because this had to be commercial. So prior to that, if you were listening to Prince, you probably were listening to him in secret, because if your parents heard those lyrics, they were probably a little bit concerned about what you were listening to. And so the music video for the album's lead single, When Doves Cry, sparked controversy among network executives who thought its sexual nature was too explicit for television. And the risque lyrics of Darling Nikki raised complaints from Tipper Gore, who was the wife of Vice President Al Gore, and the Parents Music Resource Center, or the PMRC. And it contributed to the implementation of parental advisory stickers and imprints on album covers. As a matter of fact, I think this was the first album that had the parental advisory sticker on it. And so we can thank Purple Rain for that. And so Prince won an Academy Award for Best Original Song Score for the film. And Rolling Stone ranked the album number 8 on its 2020 list of 500 greatest albums of all time. And so When Doves Cry, Let's Get Crazy, Darling Nikki, just the whole album itself is just so iconic. I saw that movie at Ricestown Road Plaza when Ricestown Road Plaza had movie theaters in it. The beautiful ones, Computer Blue, Baby I'm a Star, all of that great stuff. Prince, go listen to it. Can't believe it's been 40 years. You've seen the movie a lot when dialogue from the movie, all those different things. And so Purple Rain, great album. You get a chance, take a listen.
Purple Rain is my second favorite movie ever.
Oh, wow.
I am a...
Were you 12 when Purple Rain came out?
Ooh, I want to say that came out somewhere around 83.
84. It came out in 84.
So I love the movie so much that I got a bootleg videotape, my first bootleg videotape of the movie for Christmas.
Wow.
For Christmas.
That's crazy.
I went back to the movie theater with my mother twice and took my father 3 times. Because I love the movie so much. You're right. I know all the lines, the dances, everything. I would say that I fall into that second category. Although I was a 1999 fan, but I wasn't a heavy Prince fan then. But since Purple Rain, I was a heavier Prince fan. So I went to some of the prior songs. But
you had to be in middle school when 1999.
I was definitely in middle school.
Yeah, so you
definitely in middle school.
You should have been listening to no daggone Prince.
I caught Prince how I caught my yacht music. Prince 1999, Little Red Corvette. Yep, all that came on came on MTV. So I used to watch it then. So I used to. So that was my introduction into Prince. Little Red Corvette was one of my favorite songs ever. When Doves Cry is my favorite Prince song. Although when I tell people that, they're like, whoa, ho, ho. What about? It's like, but When Doves Cry is my favorite Prince song. But yeah, man, good shit. I'm a Prince fan, so good shit. My bucket list is still to go to Minnesota and go to oh shit, I can't remember the name of his mansion.
Oh my god, it's right on the tip.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But I think they've done some things to that now. It was wide open, but I think they've shut some of it, if not all of it, down to, or just hold a certain spot to tourists. God damn, why can't I think of the name of it?
Can't think of the Paisley Park.
Paisley Park. So
Paisley Park.
But yeah, man, good shit on the Prince.
Yeah. I slept outside for Prince tickets. I was a junior in college, and it was a Love Sexy tour. My girlfriend was a big Prince fan, and he was coming to the Hampton Coliseum, and we slept outside for Prince tickets and stuff. Didn't realize I could just go to Ticketmaster at the can't get it.
But yeah. I saw Prince one time. That was when he did his last tour of all of his classics.
Yeah, when he came to Baltimore.
When he came to the Lyric. I was actually in Pennsylvania working, and I made sure I bought tickets and drove back to Baltimore just for that concert. And I got to see Prince. That was my only time got to see Prince. Another fun fact, if people don't know or don't remember, during the uprising, Prince came and did a free concert here in Baltimore, an unannounced concert.
I wanted to go, and it was Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day, and I was like, my wife is not a Prince fan. How can I sell this as this is a Mother's Day gift? And she don't know no Prince songs.
You should have said it's free. It's free and it's Prince. Prince was an icon then, so I can't sell it. But, I don't even know what he sang then because not a lot of people talked about it. A lot of people attended, but not a lot of people talked about it. But yeah, it was just they called a pop-up shop. It was just a pop-up concert one day. Right. Prince was like, "Hey, I'm coming to Baltimore." So good shit, like Prince Rogers Nelson. And apparently he was a great basketball player. Did you hear? So we all know Charlie Murphy talked about him. Did you hear Kevin Garnett talking about him?
I saw that as well.
Kevin Garnett said everything that Charlie Murphy said is true. He was like, all that shit is true.
Yeah. Prince had handles. He had a little J out there playing in high heels
and serving people pancakes.
There you go. Yeah, Prince, Purple Rain. So you get a chance, go ahead and take a listen. We had a favorite segment that everybody loves. Come on, yo. And so, Calvin, you started off last week. I'll go ahead and start off today.
Okay.
Come on, yo. Global warming. Come on, yo. Now, I remember, I'm not that old, but, I grew up in Northwest Baltimore in a house that did not have central air. We had window units. That's what they were called. They still call that today. And so we had a window unit that was in the living room for guests. So if we had guests over on a hot day, we could turn on some AC downstairs. My sister had asthma, so she had a window unit in her room because she needed, some cool air. And my mom used to have her beauty shop in the basement. And so we had a unit that was sticking out of the one window in the basement. So, if there were customers there, she can cut on the AC. But for the most part, we really didn't cut them on. It could be hot, but we just had a fan in the window sometimes that went in my window, and that's what we cut on in the house was fans. But I don't remember these heat indexes. I never remember something about it's 95, but it feels like 150. I never remember that. But now that's all that happens. It could be 92 degrees, but this heat index makes it feel like 200. And it's already been shown that the planet's getting hotter. And, we're taking down more and more protections for the environment and regulations on these big companies that are, polluting the air and all those things that are adding gases to the environment that is making the earth hotter. And so, come on, global warming. I can't take too many of these 95-degree days that is 105 that it feels like. And it's just, if we don't feel it and feel this effect, this is not what summer was. I remember growing up in summer and it being hot, but not as excessively hot as it was. They were not putting out excessive heat warnings for people to protect themselves. And so, come on, global warming. Come on, yo. Let's do what we can to take care of the environment, because it's got to be something we can do. I'm thinking about electric cars, all this other stuff we need to do to bring down emissions and, these gases and everything that's contributing to it. I mean, we're basically, do you realize it did not snow this past winter? We might have got one day of like a trace, but we have not had like a blizzard in forever. It's been I won't say it's been just as hot in the winter as it is right now, but it's been 50, 60, on some winter days. We don't have traditional winter anymore. We don't have traditional falls. I mean, we're going well into the fall, up into the winter, at 75, 80 degrees. That's not normal, y'all. I mean, trees are budding in the winter because they think it's spring. So come on, yo. Let's do something about this environment. Let's do better.
And if the last administration becomes the next administration again, they deny the global warming thing. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm with you. Let's stop acting like it's not happening,
right,
because it is happening.
Right.
And if we want our children and children's children to have a world to live in, we need to start acting now. So there's enough people out here trying to, but there's just almost enough people denying it and not doing anything to help improve it. So I agree
Definitely.
with you. My come on yo is more of a, not just a come on yo, but more of a, hey, pay attention. We're talking NIL. So we've always talked about NIL, how it could likely destroy the college game, but then it doesn't destroy the college game because they can stay in college and make more money. But there's a big controversy. But let me tell you where the NIL thing is actually benefiting the athletes, and it's benefiting them more than they could have ever imagined. If you look at, we know we have the Summer Olympics coming up soon, and part of the Summer Olympics, a major part of the Summer Olympics, is the U.S. women's gymnastics team. In the past, for gymnasts to participate and take advantage of winning gold medals and silver medals and bronze medals, for them to take advantage of that, they would have had to leave college and become professional. And then when they become professional gymnasts, they do things like tours, and they can get advertising money, a la Mary Lou Retton, Carrie Scruggs, women like that, Dominique Dawes. That's how they make their money. But because of NIL, now these women don't have to quit college to be professionals, because they can make just as much money as a college student as those that are no longer in college and turn professional. So Simone Biles is already out, and she's making her money. But you got I believe her name is, what is Suni? I can't remember Suni's last name. I'm sorry, but she's a top gymnast at USC, and now she can stay in college, go to the Olympics, get a medal, but she's already making money because she has NIL endorsements. Suni Lee, she has NIL endorsements. So you're starting to see where the NIL is benefiting, like it should be, these college athletes, where they don't have to make a decision between education and money. And it also doesn't hurt them in the court of public opinion, because where is gymnastics the biggest? Outside of the Olympics, it's the biggest in college. You don't hear a lot about the professional gymnasts out here, but you always see the Olympic trials. You always see gymnasts on TV. Same thing with track and field. These players now, these athletes now, do not have to go professional to start making money. They can get the best of both worlds. They can get their millions of dollars in advertisements, and they can stay in college and get their degree. And then when they graduate from college, that money can still keep coming in, so they don't have to take a break. So good for them. Good for NIL doing what it's supposed to do in some of these lesser known sports, these sports that aren't really making money for the colleges, because that's really the whole gist of the controversy. These sports like basketball and especially football, they were bringing in millions of dollars for the colleges. So now the colleges are nowhere inside of this. Well, they are, but it doesn't hurt the gymnasts to make money for them. So come on, y'all. Pay attention. Come on, yo. Pay attention and see how this is working out well. So the next time you have that NIL debate, how these kids are going from school to school and it's destroying the college sport and this and that, it's not destroying all of them. It might be destroying the ones you want because you don't think these college athletes should make money. But you got these Olympic athletes that were going out here and having to quit college just to take advantage of a gold medal that a lot of them used to pawn off just to get a couple $100s and stay in college and eat. A lot of them had to pawn that off, but now they don't have to do that because they can make money in college, stay in college, and still keep that athletic profession going. So come on, yo, pay attention and stop being mean to these college kids.
There you go. Get your money.
Hey, man. We did a Saturday. It wasn't too bad.
Not at all.
Saturday afternoon, I gotta go. There's a branch that fell in my yard and it just missed my fence, but it's hanging off the tree. So now I gotta go cut that bitch down. I gotta
wait till the sun go down.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be 90 degrees after the sun goes down.
No, I waited. I'm probably it's 6 o'clock now. I'll probably give it another 10 minutes, or after I upload this, then I'm gonna go out there and just cut it down.
And get your priorities straight.
Chop the rest of it up later.
Right.
It's literally been hanging for like a week now, but I didn't have. I had my chainsaw.
Get that cut down.
my chainsaw was at my in-laws' house, so my wife went and got it. They
that's
borrowed
just not
it,
around
so
the corner. So yeah,
nah. She went. She went and got it today. She brought it back home. She let them borrow it, so she had to go get it. You let them borrow.
Right.
Go get my chainsaw.
Get my thing, yo.
Hey man, I guess we will be back sometime next week to do this again. Now, Garland,
probably early.
Garland said we're gonna have to do a recap of which one? The Shy, was it that she said?
Yeah, I know we did a quick cap of the Shy a couple episodes ago and stuff, because ain't nothing changed. I mean, what we said then pretty much is valid now. I mean, it was a trash season. I did get to watch the finale. That was total trash.
It was a bad season.
And they saying they got another season. They got renewed.
Yeah, they got renewed. I've been
Lena Waithe got pictures on somebody at Paramount.
I've been defending the Shy for the past couple seasons. Like, it's getting better, but yeah, this past season was pretty bad.
I stopped after season 3. I couldn't defend it no more. And yeah, no. No. Lena Waithe got pictures of somebody at Paramount Plus or something. I don't know what it is.
Hey man, if you get a chance, if anybody gets a chance, I'm now into The Bear on Hulu. You watch that?
Yeah, I like The Bear. Mm-hmm.
The Bear's actually
I watched The Bear.
That's my guy from Shameless. I used to watch Shameless, and he
watch The Boys?
The same character. I do watch The Boys. I'm actually on this new season. I'm on episode 3 or 4, I think. Yeah, but I do watch The Boys, and I watch their spinoff, which they're gonna have to do something about because one of the main characters died earlier this year. Did you watch the spinoff? Yeah, it was called V. I think it's called
okay.
V. And it's same thing, superheroes, but these are college kids now, and it's centered around this one girl. So they're
find that on the stick.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good, but you'll see one of the curly haired boy, if you start watching it, he died over earlier this year, so they're gonna have to try to find not really a new direction, but they're gonna have to replace him. He was a main part of the show. So, but anyway, hey man, we appreciate you all joining us here. Let me hit this outro so we can get on out of here.
You have been listening to
Give It All You Got. Give It All You Got.
This show was produced and written by Calvin Coates and Garland Thomas for All Things Black Productions. Follow us on all of your podcast media platforms.
Hey man, I'll holler at you. Have a good one, God.
All right, bro. You do the same. Peace.
Later.